People always talk about being motivated. People have trouble staying motivated, but why is motivation placed on a pedestal? In fact, to me, motivation pretty much in the long run is useless.
What did he say?
Yes, you've heard it. Motivation is useless. But why? Why is motivation placed so high on a pedestal? And second of all, why do I say that motivation is useless? Well, we're going to find out in this video, so make sure you stay tuned. Let's go. Welcome back to IC Global, your favorite source of motivational and self-improvement content. And ironically enough, we're going to be talking about why motivation often is useless. Now, if you're new to the channel, make sure that you smash that subscribe button as per usual. Now, before starting off, I want to mention that motivation is not all bad. Motivation has its place in your self-improvement journey. But in the medium to long term, motivation is pretty much useless. And the first reason I'm saying that is that it doesn't really teach you consistency. Think about it. If you're new to the gym, if you're new to exercise, for the first few months, you're so excited to go to the gym. You wake up motivated. You feel like you're unstoppable. You can bench press 300 kilograms, whatever it may be. But then as the months pass and as you start going more consistently, the thing that happens is that you'll find that your motivation begins to dwindle.
Oh no!
And this is pretty normal. The thing is that motivation is such a temporary feeling or a temporary dopamine rush. It helps you to take that first step. But in the long run, if you don't replace it with consistency, motivation is not going to get you anywhere quick. And that is why I always place discipline and consistency way above motivation. However, I have to give credit to it. It does help you take that first step. Initially, for example, when we watch a motivational video about success or about self-improvement, we ourselves feel motivated for maybe a few minutes, maybe a few hours, maybe a day or two, and then that energy quickly goes away. And that is why I say that motivation is very temporary and you need to be careful not to rely on it in its entirety. Second of all, I want to mention that we have to realize that motivation fails to teach discipline. Consistency teaches discipline, yes, and you have to have discipline in order to practice consistency. So it's vice versa, right? But motivation ultimately fails to teach either discipline or consistency in the long run. Remember, we always want to think ahead. We want to think of a few years ahead, 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead. Where are we going to be and what characteristics and habits do we need to get there? And discipline and consistency is at the top of that list. However, motivation is not on that list at all. Motivation is not a long-term thing. It is a temporary dopamine rush that we get for a few seconds, a few minutes, a few hours, a few days, heck, even a few weeks. But at the end of the day, that motivation is going to go away. And what are you going to be left with? If you have not used the motivation to build consistency and to build discipline, then you're bound to fail. In order for you to really build consistency, in order for you to really build discipline, yes, initially you do need motivation. But in the long run, after a few months or a few years, discipline and motivation are going to take the place. Well, discipline and consistency are going to take the place of motivation. So if you have not converted all of that motivation into discipline or converted all of that motivation into consistency, ultimately you're going to be left with nothing. And if you experience a setback or experience a failure, you won't be able to bounce back. So for the last point, I had a quick wardrobe change, long story. But the third reason why motivation is useless is it doesn't teach you to struggle. And as contrasting as this may sound, as counterproductive as this may sound, or counterintuitive, what's the correct word? Counterintuitive as this may sound.
Stop it. Get some help.
You have to struggle in order to succeed. And you know what? If you feel motivated all the time, you always have the tendency to choose the easiest path. You have the tendency to take shortcuts, right? Because you just want your success right now and you're prepared to take shortcuts for it. However, when that motivation fades, you start to realize that actually you should have taken the harder path. Because the harder path always teaches you discipline and consistency, and it teaches you to persevere. And that's the key word for today: perseverance. Motivation and perseverance to me don't belong in the same category, because you could be motivated for a few days, but that motivation fails to teach you perseverance because it fades. Temporary emotions like motivation fade over time, and then if you have not built up consistency or discipline, you'll be left struggling. Now, ladies and gentlemen, give me a primary reason. Give me one of your personal reasons why you think motivation in the long term is useless. I'm not talking about short term. Give me a reason why you think motivation is useless in the long term. You're also welcome to disagree with me and tell me why you think motivation actually will help you in the long run. Let me know in the comment section. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.